The Hawks are making moves. It's Dukes and Bell on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. We start off every day and every hour by saying, hey, man! It is Monday. Free agency starts Friday, and the Hawks have already made a move today. Now, if you're just joining us and you did not get a chance to hear John Freaky talk about this, literally 10 minutes ago, Hawks are finalizing a trade to send John Collins to the Jazz for Rudy Gay and a future second-round pick. Collins is 3 years, $78 million left on his deal that he signed a few years ago. All right, it was 5 years. I think it was 125, Mike. Right. So he's got three years, $78 million left. This gives the Hawks, okay, I love this term, some roster-building flexibility and also alignment with looming changes to the salary cap. So the cap is going up. We've talked about this, just a few $1 million. We've talked about the luxury tax, Mike, but let's talk about what this move means, because finally, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, JC was great to us. We enjoyed having him on and talking with him. I wish him nothing but the best if he stays with the Jazz or if the Jazz are going to move him. But what does this mean for us?
Well, that's just what's hard to read here. Are we going to try to make moves? Is this a part of a bigger picture? I mean, Rudy Gay probably won't play a minute for the Hawks. I mean, you could argue that he could be gone or it could be packaged in another deal that's turned right around. Or is it simply John Collins is part of the plan to get under the cap, to not be in the luxury tax? It's a pure salary dump, and the vision is we're going to get more minutes for the younger players, and we're not going to make the big move, the big splash that some fans are looking for. All
right. As one of our listeners said, Will Acosta says, Dukes, make sure you let people know that the Hawks can, move into the luxury tax. They can spin down to spin back up. And as I responded to him, I said, yeah, and I could date Taylor Swift. It's probably not going to happen. I don't buy into the idea. God, I hope I'm wrong, Mike.
Right.
But I don't buy into we're going to get rid of $78 million worth of money on the books, and then we're going to spend up and go put $150 or $200 million on the books to make our roster better. Do you believe that?
I mean, I want to believe that. I just don't think we're going to do that. Now, if there's some big move, and again, we've been, let's be honest, a little dubious with Landry Fields, not knowing what he's going to do, because we don't really have a track record. Travis Schlenk, we know there was 2 times that John Collins was on the market, and you could argue that if you pulled this trigger 2 years ago, we maybe get DeAndre Ayton in here. And then last year, you would have gotten probably less return, and now you're just basically dumping for a Rudy Gay, who's going to be 38. So I don't know. I mean, I want to believe, like a lot of Hawks fans, that there is going to be another big move, and this is preparing the ground for that move. Or we're simply dumping salary, and we're just going to roll out the younger dudes, and the logic would be Quinn Snyder gets a full year under his belt with this squad. And that's it. And John Collins was kind of miscast on this team. As more and more pieces came in, his production dropped. And so when he did get shots, he had to make them, and he was too inconsistent in too many big moments. Nothing against John. That's the way I see it.
Maybe you think because we have a new coach in Quinn Snyder and they're making moves and a trade like this, it shows you potential that they are willing to upgrade. I don't know if they're willing to do that. What we've heard, and the rumor on the street is, and I don't start rumors, I just talk about them once they're out. Our owner doesn't want to be in the luxury tax. Now, general manager Landry Fields, and Turtle, we got to pull this from last week because he specifically said to us, I am allowed with the group that I'm in charge of to do whatever it is that I need to do. And Turtle's ahead of the game. So I want you to hear this. We'll get it for you in a second. But this was Friday. And he clearly said, Mike, we can be in the tax if we want to. We don't have to be in the tax. And that was his answer in response to, does the owner give you full autonomy to do whatever the hell you want to do when it comes to this roster and building? Big Bo, do we have it? Because I want our listeners to hear Landry Fields talk about this. Mike, I believe the other side of this. I think the rumor on the street, and again, a lot of NBA guys, a lot of inside heads saying, hey, they don't want to be in the luxury tax because, and this is simple, by the way, this is not anything against our team or our coach. The owner doesn't believe we're a championship caliber team.
Yeah, and he spent over $600 million. Now, this is some money coming off the books, but remember, he gave guaranteed contracts in the NBA. They're all guaranteed. John Collins and Trae Young, and you took on DeJounte Murray. You gave DeAndre Hunter a contract. All those contracts added up to a lot of hundreds of millions of dollars, and we've been in the play-in game twice. Now, the other side of this, as we give you all angles to this, is the trade creates, according to ESPN, $25.3 million trade exception, the largest in the NBA, if you want to take that exception to bring another player's contract in here. But you and I are kind of, not feeling that. But that's what this could mean, Carl, could mean.
All right, let's hear Landry Fields. What about the luxury tax? Because if this is just a salary dump and they had the choice to be in it, well, right now they're choosing not to be.
I'm so happy to put this to rest. I'm actually glad that you asked that question. I have the authority, the group that I'm working with has the authority to do what we need to do to build the best possible team and franchise that we possibly can. Can I be in the tax? Absolutely. Can I get out of the tax? Absolutely. If there's a decision to make one way or the other, you should actually look at me as opposed to like ownership. There's always a way in which this goes about. Of course, do you want to save money? Everyone does. But in this business and for this particular sport, like there are team building strategies that have everything to do with being in tax and not being in the tax. So it's not just about the money and savings. Like there are certain components of it allow us to do things that we need to do to build out a roster, whether you're in it or whether you're not. So yes, ownership is awesome. They've given us full clarity and full authority to do what we need to do to build out a championship team.
Full authority, Mike.
Right. Okay, so it starts with Landry Fields. It's his decision to make, and if they want to move into luxury tax, as he told you on Friday, I know Woj tweeted this earlier today, but he basically told you this on Friday along with Tribble, and yeah, we can do it. We can do it from one way, we can do it the other way.
Well, and I got to say this too, Mike. I mean, it's Dukes and Bell at Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. Guys, we're fired up because, one, we want this team to get better. But the only way you're going to do it, and Mike's been saying this for probably 2 years, is our owner willing to spend to get better and make the moves necessary. Two, John Collins has finally been traded. This has been an ongoing saga for 3 years now. They could have moved him for bigger and better pieces 2 years ago, but again, that was rejected by the owner. Okay, the former general manager wanted to do it. Now we're in a situation where you trade John Collins, and you're telling me they're going to spend up. They're going to spend down to spend up. So that is where we're at. And Mike, I believe part of this is the information that's being put out there is to make us, Hawks fans, feel really good. Hey, we have the ability to do this if we really want to change and we can go in a different direction. So don't be disappointed when you see a name like Rudy Gay and a 38-year-old guy and a future second-round pick. It means nothing to us.
No. I mean, Rudy may play here, he may not. I mean, he may get packaged, he may opt in, there might be an opt-out, who knows. But you guys, we just laid it out. You got John Collins off the books. You got nothing in return other than some flexibility salary-wise.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, now, are you going to use it? Don't tell me why. Well, we may. What? Everybody in the Eastern Conference is getting better, except us. Seriously, show me a roster that you tell me how this roster is better. John Collins, for all the things we said about him, there's about 14 or 15 points not out there now. Okay? So where do you get that? Who's going to provide that on this team? Is Sadiq Bey going to be consistent enough? All the other guys we've added here, Jalen Jones, these are younger players. Jalen Johnson, younger guys. So, look, you and I talked about it for years. Production went down as more elements came in. And John was just, look, he's a big man that's not big enough to play the power position in this NBA. In the playoffs, he gets pushed around too much. And, Carl, he's too inconsistent a jump shooter. He's also a wonderful person that we've always enjoyed his time, but I don't want to make it like we're bashing on John. It's just he didn't, or to my mind, he just wasn't consistent enough for the role that was, for the job that he was asked to do.
And Mike, here's the thing. For me, this is it's not about John. This is about management and ownership recognizing when the fire was hot, when you should have moved him to get the max value for him instead of waiting around, and now it's almost Scraps and Rudy Gay.
So Travis Schlenk was willing to make these moves we talked about 2 years ago, 18 months ago, and the group, whether that's his wrestler's son, whether there's other voices in the room, they didn't want to do it. And then, as you said, ultimately the owner didn't want to do it.
All right, 404-726-0929. We're going to get a poll up. Are you losing faith in this commitment to winning by this kind of move? Are you starting to feel like something much better is going to happen with this Hawks team, that they're going to take a turn by starting to make moves like this? A lot of you have said it, man, they got to do something. They got to do something. They got to do something. They just did something. What's it mean? 404-726-0929. We'll get the poll up, Chris, at Dukes and Bell 929. You guys can let us know how you feel, and you can go vote. Unexpected at this particular time because free agency starts Friday, but not really. Deals are getting put in place, and there's no sense in waiting. If you know you're going to trade him, maybe this was the best they could get for him, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, and this goes back to the argument we've been talking about now for months. When the best option we had was DeAndre Ayton. Now, DeAndre Ayton's stock's kind of taken a hit too. But DeAndre Ayton, what was that, 18 months ago, 2 years ago?
At least.
Right? I mean, DeAndre Ayton would have brought in some more presence here now, and maybe, Nate would have figured him out. Again, it's a parallel universe. It never happened. So here we are. You had a chance to move a guy while he was a hot commodity, and you didn't, so now you basically gave him away.
Gave him away?
To dump the money. Now the money's out. Now, do you take – it's a simple question. priming the pump. Are we going to put money back into this thing? Are we going to go get a bona fide scorer to work with Trey and DeJounte and the younger players? Are we going to continue to work with DeAndre Hunter? I think they are. I don't think they're going to trade DeAndre Hunter. A lot of guys think that's the next step.
Well, trading Hunter?
Yeah. I don't think they will.
If we do reinvest and go add more payroll and go add some quality players to this roster, I'll be the happiest guy on the planet. Because then you're going to be able to show me that you are committed to doing the things necessary to move this roster forward. If we do, say it with me, nothing, then you're showing me that you're rolling the same team out, Mike. And what's the phrase we use? What's the phrase we used to talk about with the Hawks?
Hawks fever.
Catch it.
Look, we got the good news is we're fourth in attendance. People are excited about the product, but, you can't take your fan base for granted either. You got to get them reason to get down there.
Come on,
man. What are we doing here? Are we in the championship business? Are we in the getting better business or staying pat business?
All right, guys, follow Mike. He's Mike Bell, ATL. I'm at Put 'em Up. See Dukes, the radio show. Dukes and Bell 929. Follow the radio station at 929 The Game. Stay up on everything that's going on. You can watch us on Twitch at ATL 929 The Game. Hey, man. On YouTube, 929 The Game. We appreciate you guys being a part of the show. As always, we'll get to the poll question. It is up at Dukes and Bell 929. We'll talk about that and more on this John Collins move